A warm welcome to the show. Urban Art Area returns to Warsaw this summer for its 6th edition. It is Poland's largest exhibition dedicated to contemporary urban art. Joining us today is the curator, Mateusz Kostański, to talk about how urban art is evolving, why it continues to captivate new audiences, and what visitors can expect from this year's edition. Hello and welcome. Delighted to have you with us.
Me again.
So, urban art was created initially for public spaces. When and how did it make the leap to private collections?
Well, the biggest change was the creation of the name urban contemporary art, because the street art was first, and street art, because of its name, was appearing on the streets. And because of growing interest of collectors, especially of companies, galleries, and naturally auction houses, that's why those artists started to painting also studio artworks. So it's possible for us to have the part of their legend in our private interiors.
But can work created for a gallery still carry the same urgency?
100% yes. For them, for those artists, it's just a changing of medium. It's about the character of their pieces, the idea that is standing behind of those artworks, it's still the same. In street art, in urban art, having your own unique style and your own unique idea is the most important thing. Because, you know, on exhibition you can come, we are taking care of this curatorial part of this exhibition, so you can read biographies of the artists, make some informations about them, but they perfectly know that the most common things to check their pieces, their artworks, is on the streets. On the streets you can find information who is the author of their artwork. That's why they're so original, unique and different from one another. Because for us it's easier, and the most important thing is when you see their pieces on the streets, you should already know in 1 second that's the artwork by this person.
So this is the 6th edition of Urban Art Area. So how has the show changed over the years?
I think every edition is completely different, because we're inviting many new artists, because it's urban art review, so we want to show, as always, we're inviting some legendary artists, completely iconic people, but we're also trying to reach and attach for some new interesting people that are appearing on the stage. So for us, our idea is to prepare the exhibition that will be interesting also for people who know everything about street art, and for those who is the first contact with art like this.
And Polish urban art has changed dramatically over the last 20 or so years. So can you walk us through some of these differences, through this evolution?
Oh, I think we don't have enough time to say about all the history of Polish street art. We have to remember that many of the artists that were presenting on the exhibition are people in their 30s, 40s, sometimes 50s. So in the categories of art, they all are really young people, and they have a lot of time to create some new pieces and to evolve and to hopefully make some interesting things in the future.
So this year's exhibition brings together about 60 artists.
Yeah, 60 artists this year.
Working across various mediums, and they created their artworks exclusively for this show, some of them at least. So what are the highlights? What are the most important things to see?
I think the most important thing to see the whole exhibition. It would be hard to choose the people who are more important than one another. As I said before, we invited really legendary artists. We also invited many fresh new people. We wanted to also focus on women on this year edition, because there is so small group of women in the street art, and all of them are incredibly talented. So our ambition in this year edition was to show as many women as possible. It's not a really large group, but much more than the year before.
Okay, and do you have your favorite piece, or perhaps a few pieces that you would like to
It would be hard to choose someone who is my favorite. As I said, they're all completely different. They have different energy, different ideas for their pieces. When you visit our exhibition and you check all of the walls painted by the artists and the studio artworks, I think it's even hard for the guest of exhibition to tell this one is my favorite. You have to choose at least 10.
But some of these artworks were created exclusively for this exhibition. Is it unusual or is it typical for artists to work this way?
In street art, in urban art, it's typical. It's typical because in this year edition, like in 5 before, more than 90% artworks are premiered and prepared especially for this project, because the studio artworks, it's not the main thing what those artists do. Their main gallery is on the streets. They painting murals, they making works on the street. So when they get invitation for us to join us on next edition, they have to prepare pieces to show them on the exhibition. So it's not only occasion to check artworks made by 60 artists, but to check 60 premiere, more than 500 premiere artworks made by those people.
Some people still regard street art as vandalism. What do you say to them?
I want them to visit our exhibition. For sure they will change their mind.
Okay. But sometimes the artists still choose to work in places where it is not allowed to do so. Have you ever had to navigate such a situation?
You know, when they paint illegally, because they paint illegally, that's not a secret. They usually paint on the places that you know, the real artists are not painting on some old buildings, on some new freshly painted walls. They usually choosing the places. I want to say it really nice. They don't look good, those walls. So for me and for those artists, it's like renovating those spaces, because usually they choose spaces completely forbidden by the people who are taking care of those.
Urban art area is more than an exhibition. There are also workshops, there are films. It's a whole thing. Why is education so important?
Maybe that's why, because there are still some people, maybe not so many people, because this group is smaller each year, but there are still some people that are saying the things that you just said, that there are vandals, they're destroying the public space. That's why education is so important, to make people aware what's the difference between real artist and the vandal. That's why we're organizing meetings with the artists. We're organizing also important thing in Museum of Modern Art. In Kino Museum you can meet artists every Sunday. We're organizing some cinema projections with their movies and their experience. Also with workshops you can try your own skills with those artists. The education part, the Urban Art Academy, is one of the most important things during the exhibition, because that's why we can, you know, spread the awareness about this main difference, that the participants of the exhibition are not vandals, and you have to just see the difference between real art and vandalism.
So let's talk about the investment aspect of urban art. Is there such an angle to it already?
I see incredible heights during last years, and still the prices of the artworks made by street artists, when you compare them to the level of prices that you can find in, for example, in London or Berlin, so you don't have to take a long trip, it's still on a really low level when you compare them with prices abroad, and still we all see giant potential of growing. So the investment part is, I think, is the thing that is focusing collectors, but we always say that you shouldn't buy a piece if you don't like it. You should always choose the artwork that you really like, really love, and you want to live with it.
So what factors determine the worth of a given piece in urban art? Like
in regular art market, it's all the exhibitions of the artist, of his project that he prepared earlier, all the history and his biography. It's important when you're setting the price of the artist. Every artist, he's beginner, he's starting for really low prices, and he just worked really hard, not only paint, but participate in many other projects that make him more seen, more valuable, and that's how they're building their prices. So there is no difference in this area between urban art and classical contemporary art.
And do you have any particular artists with whom you've worked over the years whom you'd like to perhaps shine the spotlight on and mention?
I'm not sure if I want to spotlight anyone, because, as you know, there are 60 artists in the exhibition. They all have great potential, great possibilities. That's why they are part of this exhibition. So I think it will be better to let the visitors choose who is the best in their opinion, because they can be sure that we're selecting artists to participate with our experience. And that's why they can trust and check the pieces that are worth to show.
And have you had any artists with whom you've worked over the years as a gallery, or?
Yeah, most of participants are with us since the first edition. So there is a large group of the artists that we work every year, and every year we're trying to invite some new people and new participants to exhibition. So the large group of artists from urban art area are together with us since the first edition.
So how does one become a street artist?
How you become an artist.
Okay, so do most of them have formal training, or are they just...
Many people on the exhibition are really surprised when they're reading biographies on the exhibition. Many people are so shocked and surprised. They are people after, school, after academies, they're educated in this. So, yeah, they're artists. I know it might be shocking for some people, but that's why we provide this curatorial part during exhibition, to spread awareness and to the people can now check. It's not some, the participants, the artists are not some young boys walking around with spray cans. They are classical educated artists, and they're just doing art professionally.
Can we talk about different styles within urban art, and what are they?
It's completely, the variety of styles and ideas, it's completely crazy, maybe not crazy, not the best word. It's completely interesting in street art, in urban art, because in this area of art, everybody has to be really original and different from one another. And also they're experimenting a lot with many techniques, with many ideas. So it's a little bit different way than in regular art. Usually when classic artist is painting with oil paintings, he usually paints with oil paintings for most of his life. Street artists are pretty different in this area. They have some idea, they want to say something, because street art is always about something. They don't paint just for painting. They want to send some message and send some information, show themselves. And in urban art, firstly you have idea, what you want to show, what you want to present, and many times after the idea you are choosing the technique that will be the best to show this concept.
And you've mentioned the collaboration with the Museum of Modern Art here in Warsaw. So do you see it as a final stamp of approval for urban street art, that it's becoming a proper art form?
I think it's the question for the Museum of Modern Art, but every work like this, from the very beginning, our ambition, the ambition of the owner of the gallery, Miss Leonarda, was to put this art on the level like a normal art is treated. So each year we see that the interest from the media, from the collectors, from the people are getting bigger and bigger. So co-working with Museum of Modern Art is another step for us in our mission, because during our conversation we usually say that we don't promote Polish street art. We're just trying to spread awareness among Polish people that they can be proud how great this scene is, because our Polish artists are incredibly popular all over the world, but in many cases not in Poland. So that's why this exhibition is, to Polish people come there and see, and that's my favorite part, when they're leaving exhibition and then they say one to another, I never thought we have so many great artists on Polish street art, and then we feel that our mission is completed.
And that is the best recommendation. Mateusz Kostański, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. And thank you for watching Pulse of Culture. Please stay tuned for more here on TVP World.